So let's talk about GHK-Cu. You've probably heard of it, right? It's a superstar peptide, famous for everything from skin repair to healing. And people love it. But what happens when you start using it, even just a tiny little bit on your skin, and suddenly you're covered in hives, you're flushing, you're itching like crazy? It's confusing, it's frustrating, and honestly, it makes most people want to throw the bottle away. But what if that reaction isn't what it seems? Okay, let's get into it.
This right here is the key. It's the whole idea we're going to unpack. See, when you introduce something powerful and bioactive like a peptide, and your body freaks out, the problem is very rarely the peptide itself. Instead, what's likely happening is that the peptide has just put a spotlight on a weak spot in your body's foundation, what we call the terrain. Just think of your terrain as the overall condition of your internal environment. You know, your nutrient levels, your gut health, how your immune system is doing. All right, so let's look at our real-world case, a perfect example of this. We have someone who starts using a low-dose GHK-Cu serum on their skin. They've never had any issues like this before. But within a few days, bam, hives, flushing, and this intense itching. I mean, it looks and feels exactly like a classic allergic reaction. So naturally, they stop the peptide and go get some lab work done, fully expecting to find some big flashing sign that says allergy. But this is what they get back. And, well, look at it. There's no smoking gun for an allergy here. In fact, most of it looks fantastic. Vitamin D is solid, thyroid is normal, metabolic health looks great. But take a look at those top two lines. Critically low ferritin and low iron saturation. Now that is interesting. This isn't an allergy story. This is a clue to something much, much deeper. And this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? The reaction feels like the problem, but it's actually just information, really high-value information. The GHK-Cu didn't make this person sick. It just put a little bit of pressure on a system that was already shaky, and in doing so, it exposed the cracks. The peptide literally became a diagnostic tool. So let's follow that first huge clue, the one that's practically screaming at us from the lab report, the iron connection. This is the biggest piece of the puzzle, and it completely changes the way we should look at this person's reaction. The patient's ferritin level was 8. Just 8. Let that number sink in for a second. Ferritin isn't just iron in your blood. It's your body's stored iron. It's the deep reserve tank that your immune system depends on to stay calm and stable. And this person's tank? It was running on fumes. Now, to put that number into perspective, a level of 8 is considered critically depleted. For your immune system to function properly, to be resilient and not overreactive, you want that number to be over 50. Ideally, you want it closer to 100. So this person wasn't just low. They weren't even in the same ballpark. Their immune system was basically set up for instability. So why does this matter so much? Well, because iron is absolutely crucial for keeping your mast cells stable. Your mast cells are like the little grenades of your immune system, packed with histamine. When your ferritin drops this low, those mast cells get incredibly twitchy. They just go off at the slightest thing. Your entire immune system then shifts into what we call the Th2 allergic pathway. It basically flips a switch that puts it on high alert. And to top it all off, your body's ability to break down all that histamine just plummets. So in short, having low iron creates the perfect biological storm for the exact kind of reaction this person had. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. Because while that iron deficiency is clearly the main villain here, it turns out it had a couple of partners in crime. In this case, there were two hidden accomplices that helped create this perfect storm the moment GHK-Cu showed up. Accomplice number 1 is actually hidden in the name of the peptide itself, GHK copper. That's Cu for copper. The peptide is literally delivering a dose of copper into your system. Now, copper and iron have this really complex relationship. They actually compete with each other for absorption. So if you're already low in iron and you add a bunch of extra copper, you can actually make the iron problem even worse. And on top of that, unbound copper can directly poke at those already twitchy mast cells. See the problem? You've got one issue, low iron, making the system unstable, and then you add another factor, copper, that pokes that very same unstable system. And accomplice number 2? It's the gut. Your gut bacteria, believe it or not, are responsible for making a really important enzyme called DAO. DAO is your main defense for breaking down histamine. But here's the catch. If your gut microbiome is out of balance, something we call dysbiosis, and it's incredibly common, your DAO production can tank. So imagine you have a histamine bucket in your body. With low DAO, that bucket is already almost full. Then the mast cells degranulate, releasing a huge flood of histamine, and your bucket overflows instantly. That's when you get those systemic symptoms like hives and flushing.
So you see, this is the perfect storm. You've got a system that's hyperreactive because of low iron, you introduce a copper load that pokes at that reactivity, and you have a compromised ability to clean up the histamine mess that results. It was never just about the peptide. It was about these three things all crashing together at the same time.
Okay, so the most important part of all of this is that once you understand the terrain, you can fix it. Instead of just giving up and saying, oh, I guess I can't use peptides, we can follow a really clear, straightforward protocol to rebuild that foundation. That way, the body can actually handle these powerful tools. Let's walk through what that looks like. All right, here is the 4-step plan. Step 1 is stabilize. First thing, you stop the peptide. Then you get to work on the root causes. Start gently replenishing your iron, you help balance that copper by making sure you have enough zinc, and maybe try a short-term low-histamine diet just to calm everything down. Step 2, after about 4 to 6 weeks, is retest. Don't guess, you gotta verify with new lab work that your ferritin is actually coming up. The goal is to get it above 50. Step 3, and only if the labs look good, is reintroduce. You can cautiously try the GHK Cu again, but you start super small, like a quarter of the original dose. And finally, step 4, reevaluate. If you still have problems, you know you've ruled out the big stuff, and you can start looking at more specific issues.
This whole journey leads to a much more powerful way of looking at these kinds of reactions. Instead of seeing the peptide as this bad guy, this enemy, we start to see it as an informant, a messenger that's giving us priceless information about where our system is weak. This is the big takeaway. The reaction wasn't a failure. Your body didn't fail you. It was actually a diagnostic success. Think about it. Someone could live for years with a ferritin of 8, feeling tired and off and never knowing why. The peptide forced the issue to the surface in a way that was impossible to ignore. That's a gift.
So what did our little informants tell us? It revealed depleted nutrient stores, which are totally fixable. It pointed a finger at potential microbiome issues, which are addressable. And it uncovered an underlying mast cell reactivity, which is absolutely manageable. These aren't life sentences. They're just problems on a to-do list, and they all have solutions.
And it all comes down to this one simple mantra. Powerful advanced tools like peptides, they need a solid foundation to work on. If your terrain is weak, the tools are not going to work right, and they might even backfire. You have to build the terrain first. Then you can use the tools to get all those amazing benefits. So I'm going to leave you with this one question to think about. The next time you have a weird reaction to a supplement, a food, anything, ask yourself, is this just a random side effect that I should try to avoid? Or is it a signal, a valuable clue that's pointing you towards a deeper issue that's just waiting to be fixed? Honestly, the answer to that question could change everything.